Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. That's what I do. And anyway, so I'm going to do go through some of the things I did to prep this 14-year-old camper to go on a 4,000 mile trip. Some of the adds I made to the truck, some of the changes I did to the camper, and to make sure, as best I can, to make sure that we have a trip that we don't have breakdowns and failures along the way, and try to be safe. So there's gonna be a number of things in that. I will put links to all of the stuff that I have done down below, and their affiliate links into Amazon. So if you're interested in that, please use them. But I've been pretty happy with all the stuff I've added already, and yeah, let's take a look at everything. All right, so one of the first things I did is I put this wireless backup camera. I've had a couple different ones that have been not great because I put a little plate up there and it's got a really strong magnet. We'll throw some video up here so you can see what it looks like, but that magnet is super strong. It's solar powered, and I've got a nice screen on the inside of the cab that we'll take a look at when we get in there. So that was the first thing. So a couple of the other things that I did was, because this camper is 14 years old, I want to make sure that the date codes on the tires weren't, 12, 14-year-old tires, which would be bad to put on that kind of stress. So they were within, they're about 5 years old, so they'll be okay. And they got good mileage, there's a good tread, and there's no checking and stuff on it. But one of the things I did is I pulled off all of the drums and stuff because I want to check the bearings and everything. And I'm glad I did, because when I pulled those all apart, 3 of the 4 seals were bad on the rear seal on the hub, which meant all of the inside of the brakes were covered with grease and stuff, so they would have been completely useless. So I pulled those apart, cleaned them up, put a new set of pads on there, and put them all back together and got them working. The other thing I did is I added these temperature or pressure sensor things. I picked up on Amazon, and I'm glad I did, because one of the things I did when I was doing this, I checked tire pressure, and they were at around 25 to 30 pounds. They're supposed to be 65. So this one allows me to pair up either a two, just a single axle or a dual axle, and identify each ones, and then it runs off solar. We'll see that when we get into the cab. They've got a little locking nut, so once you put them on there, and it monitors temperature along with temperature and pressure. So, and it'll set off alarms once if it goes outside of the range that you set. So I can watch that as I go along. So one of the things we're doing on a trip is we picked up a pair of e-bikes. Now, e-bikes weigh considerably more than a regular bike, and hence the carriers need to support a lot more weight. And I was looking for good ways to haul these, not on the camper, not on the truck, and I can't hang them off the back because there's not enough support for these. So I was able to pick up this Stromberg trailer tray, and it supports up to 300 pounds because it's got an extra leg in there that you can see. So it's made for generators and stuff like that. And then I just built it up with some blocks, and it's all set up so that once that thing drops on there, it can't move around. I got a couple straps over the top of it, so when we get to a site we're camping, we can undo those straps, and actually this could get transferred to the truck, and then we can go out and take our e-bikes out for day trips and stuff like that. I also went ahead and put an electric jack in here, because we'll be hooking up a number of different times, and just make it a little bit easier to do that. So moving forward here, I already did a video on these mirrors from Boost Auto, and I'll link somewhere in here. I'll link a video to that. Those are powerful. They have sequential signals in there. And also, when you come around to the back side, the signals will show up here. So somebody that's coming up alongside you can see your signals. as you're trying to turn. So now we're in the truck. First thing we're gonna do is, we'll see how well this shows up. That is the pressure sensor receiver, and it's set up on the windshield, but it's got solar on the top side, and it gives me all the different pressure of and temperature of the tires of each individual one. If it goes outside the range that I set, it'll set off a little alarm. It'll stop after a few seconds, and then a few minutes later it'll come back on. I've done that trying to get the temperature, so it when you're driving, the temperature will go, your tire pressure will go up a little bit as you're driving, anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds. And I got just done driving. These were set at 65, so they're still a little bit warm. Those will cool back down, the temperature go down. But anytime it goes inside or outside of that temperature and or pressure in each tire, it will set off that little alarm. So you know immediately if you've got a problem with a tire before maybe you have a blowout, or you've just been driving too long and didn't notice that you've got a flat tire or something like that. All right, so this is where I've got that camera mounted, and this does record if I want to. It typically wouldn't record, but it does do it in a loop, and this connects up with that back camera wirelessly. And this I've got routed in, so it plugs into the cigarette adapter, and that works out pretty well. It's been pretty good. I've had different ones in the past that have the signal keeps getting lost. I've been driving around kind of testing the truck for the last couple of days with the trailer, just to kind of make sure that everything is going to roll out the way I want to, and then I don't have any issues that I'm unaware of. So this has actually been pretty good. I did have one instance earlier today where it dropped off and got no signal for a couple of seconds and then came right back on. So not exactly sure why it did that, but overall it's been pretty good. And yeah, so happy with that. It really makes it nice. And I'll put some video up. You can see probably about at least very clearly 3 lanes behind you, and a little bit wider, but you got really good that lane right behind you and the adjacent lanes. And with that and my mirrors, it's really eliminates any blind spots, and makes it so you feel a little bit safer and knowing what's going on around you. So the thing is, I've got a dash cam, and it's a ROVE RT Art2 4K, so it records in 4K, and I've got like a 256 gig card in there, and it will loop through. Anytime like you get into the truck, you open up the door, it actually sets it off and it'll turn on. So like if you were in a parking garage and somebody bumped into the front of your vehicle, you might be able to see something. But basically anytime you start moving the vehicle, it'll turn on and start recording automatically. So it's kind of a no-brainer. I just let it go and it just turns on, and I can have access on my phone with it. So it's been pretty nice. We're hoping that some of the footage that we can get off of the driving around in areas, that we can actually download some of that video and be able to use that for saving our trip. So one of the other things I did, and this is actually I did it a while back, so I ended up converting this over to solar, and if people are interested, I might do a video on that and the conversion. So I've got 4 100-watt panels on the roof of the camper. I've got a 2,000-watt inverter that we can run the microwave. I've got the batteries, and part of what dictated that originally was the refrigerator died, and we needed to change out the refrigerator. So I went to a 12-volt larger refrigerator for the same money that propane one was going to cost. So did that, and now I got an 11 cubic foot refrigerator freezer that runs off a 12 volt. So we needed to have some good solar system, good batteries and good solar. So like I said, if you're interested in that, put some comments down, and I might go ahead and review and walk through the process. I did that. Everybody, I think we're going to wrap this up. So I went through a lot of products really quickly. I didn't spend a lot of time going through each one. I just didn't feel that was necessary. but I have links for them. I'm happy with all the products I've got. Let's leave it at that. If you're looking for a trip and looking for some ideas to make your trip safer and make, just maintaining an older trailer for a long trip, hopefully some of these ideas help you out. And yeah, we'll see you next time.